You watch colleagues react sharply to small comments before forming calm explanations. Friends often change tone suddenly, masking immediate feelings with measured words. Family members defend positions quickly, later framing their reactions as considered choices. Partners withdraw from discussions, only to justify silence with careful reasoning afterward. A friend laughs too soon, covering unease before thought can guide expression. Coworkers dismiss ideas instantly, later constructing logical arguments to explain instinctive reactions. You begin noticing this pattern repeating quietly across ordinary daily interactions. It appears external at first, yet closer observation reveals familiar sequences within yourself. What seems like deliberate reasoning is often instinct acting before conscious thought. This is where instinct quietly directs behavior, shaping moments you assume are rational. You may have labeled certain people as impulsive, defensive, or stubborn during ordinary disagreements. Behavioral scientist B.F. Skinner noted that behaviors are shaped long before reflective awareness develops. When a friend snaps or interrupts, it often occurs before thought assembles any explanation. The brain detects emotional cues faster than language can interpret or translate them. A partner's sudden withdrawal can feel intentional, but it frequently originates from instinctive emotional protection. Colleagues dismiss suggestions rapidly, later framing decisions as deliberate, thoughtful judgment. Even during calm discussions, the body responds, tightening, adjusting posture, or shifting tone, before reasoning intervenes. What appears as stubbornness is often a protective response acting before awareness. Psychologist Carl Jung observed that unconscious processes guide much of behavior, quietly influencing visible actions. Friends may defend positions emotionally first, constructing rationalizations only afterward to maintain social cohesion. Family arguments reveal instinctive reactions that occur before conscious consideration of words or tone. A colleague's subtle frown may precede disagreement, shaping internal interpretation prior to any conscious thought. Partners' laughter in tense moments often serves as an instinctive buffer against discomfort rather than reasoning. Even brief pauses carry emotional weight, triggering reactions before logical evaluation can occur. You notice sudden agreement or resistance appearing faster than anyone could consciously plan. The mind instinctively scans social cues, preparing responses before rational analysis has time to catch up. What seems like personality often reflects sequences of instinctive reactions followed by carefully constructed explanations. During workplace debates, emotional alignment frequently precedes argumentation, shaping discussions in ways unnoticed by participants. Friends' moods shift rapidly, sometimes before anyone articulates why, revealing the precedence of instinct over thought. You may recognize these sequences quietly in yourself, mirrored in interactions across friends, family, and colleagues. The pattern is subtle, pervasive, and often invisible, yet it quietly orchestrates the flow of daily life. This recognition hints at origins hidden long before conscious reasoning, where instinct first learned its pathways.
If you're still watching, you probably notice things most people miss. You question behavior, you look beneath the surface. If that sounds like you, subscribe. This channel was made for minds like yours.
Long before language or deliberate thought fully matured, your brain learned to respond to tone, posture, and facial expressions signaling safety or threat. Parents' reactions to mistakes often shaped rapid emotional responses, teaching instinctive calibration long before reasoning could intervene. Siblings added layers of complexity, requiring constant adjustment to maintain attention, harmony, or protection within shared spaces. You learned to read rooms instinctively, interpreting subtle tension cues before words could be fully processed. Behavioral scientist B.F. Skinner noted that reinforcement shapes behavior, yet much of it occurs beneath conscious recognition. Praise and correction created neural pathways where immediate reactions felt safer than considered responses. Even playful teasing among family trained emotional speed, teaching the mind to anticipate reactions and protect itself. Childhood friendships became arenas for social adaptation, where inclusion depended on instinctive alignment with others' moods. Moments of embarrassment left deep traces, conditioning rapid defensive reactions that persisted into adulthood. Teachers unknowingly reinforced patterns by rewarding conformity and discouraging behaviors that delayed emotional adjustment. By adolescence, instinctive responses had refined, allowing swift reactions that preserved belonging and reduced conflict. The brain became adept at predicting outcomes before reasoning could verify accuracy, favoring emotional speed over deliberation. Psychoanalyst Erik Erikson described developmental stages where early social learning shapes behavior in ways often invisible later. A caregiver's subtle disapproval could train avoidance, embedding automatic defensive behaviors long before self-reflection emerged. Games, disputes, and small betrayals strengthened vigilance, creating patterns that persisted silently across social contexts. Early exposure to praise or criticism established templates for interpreting approval and rejection instantly. Observation of adults' emotional regulation provided models for fast, protective responses without conscious analysis. Even minor anxieties train the brain to react swiftly to perceived social threats, ensuring emotional safety. By adulthood, these patterns were deeply embedded, ready to activate in both familiar and new social environments. What appears as rapid judgment today often originates in protective lessons learned decades earlier. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that these instinctive sequences were adaptive, ensuring survival in uncertain and socially complex environments. Cultural reinforcement throughout life subtly continues these tendencies, embedding patterns that appear automatic and personal. Attachment experiences, praise, and early conflict resolution shape the speed and intensity of these instinctive reactions. Each micro-response, from posture shifts to fleeting expressions, reflects neural pathways honed through repeated exposure and observation. Even laughter, agreement, or sudden withdrawal carries traces of survival strategies learned long before conscious reasoning emerged. These origins explain why reasoning often follows instinct, shaping daily interactions across friends, family, and colleagues. Understanding the source of these reactions frames the next observation: how they manifest in ordinary social life. In conversations with friends, reactions often appear before words are chosen, revealing instinct guiding the first moments. A friend interrupts sharply, later framing it as attentiveness or enthusiasm once the moment has passed. Partners respond to tone rather than content, instinctively adjusting before understanding the full meaning. Family members defend positions immediately, later constructing explanations to justify what instinct already dictated. At work, a colleague rejects a proposal instinctively, only afterward forming reasoned arguments to support the response. You notice moods shifting before anyone consciously comments, as emotional signals move faster than awareness can follow. Friends nod rapidly during discussions, sensing social dynamics before fully processing the conversation's content. Partners may withdraw mid-discussion, describing the pause later as reflection rather than protective instinct. Even minor disagreements trigger automatic physiological responses, like tightening or subtle posture shifts before words emerge. Colleagues unconsciously mirror one another, aligning tone and stance as instinctive social calibration takes hold. Family dinners expose patterns where familiar topics trigger immediate emotional responses, only later rationalized. Laughter can mask discomfort, signaling instinctive self-regulation rather than thoughtful amusement. In friendships, people choose emotional sides first, then retrospectively justify alignment through reasoning. Workplace hierarchies are navigated via rapid deference or assertion, instinct preceding conscious judgment. A partner's reassurance often arrives not from analysis, but from sensing tension before understanding its source. Even casual compliments may be delivered instinctively to maintain social harmony, with thought arriving later. Emails and messages now carry the same pattern. Rapid emotional reaction precedes deliberate phrasing. Different people notice this pattern in different moments. Sharing observations sometimes helps others recognize it too. Friends or colleagues may misinterpret instinctive reactions as deliberate strategy, though the underlying sequence is automatic. Everyday interactions, small disagreements, agreements, laughter, silences, reveal the invisible architecture of instinct shaping social life. Micro-adjustments in tone, posture, or expression quietly guide conversation before conscious reasoning participates. Partners' emotional shifts often feel instantaneous, yet the brain has already responded to subtle cues beforehand. Workplace disagreements unfold in a rhythm where emotional reaction leads, explanation follows, and insight comes last. Family arguments reveal layers of instinctual alignment, revealing safety strategies learned long ago. Friends sometimes preempt conflict through instinctive gestures or words, later rationalized into careful explanations. Even small social signals, eye contact, nods, or brief smiles, reflect automatic calibration long before conscious thought. These sequences shape relationships, interactions, and group dynamics more than we typically realize. Recognition of this pattern sets the stage for how modern life amplifies these instincts in ways rarely visible. Modern life surrounds the brain with constant stimuli, magnifying the speed and frequency of instinctive responses. Notifications arrive without warning, prompting emotional reactions before conscious evaluation has time to intervene. Messages are interpreted instantly through imagined tone, triggering instinctive judgment before careful understanding develops. Social media rewards rapid responses, reinforcing speed of reaction over reflective reasoning in everyday interactions. You notice how quickly feelings arise while scrolling, often preceding rational thought or conscious interpretation. Cultural norms praise decisiveness and immediacy, subtly encouraging reflexive reactions that appear confident and controlled. Professional communication demands quick replies, training the mind to prioritize instinctive processing over deliberate consideration. Psychologist Marshall McLuhan noted that the medium shapes perception, and digital spaces accelerate emotional activation unconsciously. Even brief silences online provoke instinctive assumptions about tone, context, or intention before reasoning can clarify. People carefully curate responses, yet the emotional reaction guiding words arrives long before conscious thought. News cycles and trending topics foster rapid opinions, often formed before thoughtful reflection on details occurs. Social comparison triggers near-instant emotional evaluation, amplifying subtle feelings into full-blown instinctive responses. Digital interactions train the brain to respond automatically to symbols, icons, and brief messages with surprising intensity. Workplace communication now extends to virtual spaces, where tone is inferred instantly, often inaccurately. Group messaging creates emotional momentum, where instinctive alignment spreads before conscious understanding is possible. Even brief notifications can trigger a sequence of reactions learned in childhood, magnified by constant digital exposure. Replies, emojis, and reactions act as micro-reinforcements, strengthening pathways that favor immediate instinctive responses. You may feel mentally fatigued after digital interactions, unaware of how many rapid emotional reactions occurred silently. Cultural reward systems reinforce instinct-first patterns, praising assertiveness and early alignment while discouraging hesitation. The modern environment transforms occasional protective reactions into continuous sequences, replayed dozens of times daily. Every notification, message, and interaction amplifies the brain's preference for speed over reflective accuracy. Small misunderstandings escalate because emotional interpretations arrive before clarifying communication can occur. Digital culture extends survival mechanisms honed in social evolution, rewarding reflexive responses while masking the hidden cost. Even carefully thought-out posts are often preceded by subtle instinctive judgments formed in seconds. Social validation mechanisms strengthen automatic behaviors, reinforcing patterns that were once situational and occasional. What previously occurred sparingly now occurs constantly, shaping perception, behavior, and emotional alignment across daily life. This amplification sets the stage for a deeper awareness of the pattern itself, exposing instinct's hidden influence. Awareness begins as subtle noticing that instinct often precedes thought in ordinary interactions. You start observing how rapidly your body responds, even when your mind feels calm and measured. A friend's sudden defensiveness now appears as instinct quietly moving before reasoning has time to intervene. Partners' emotional shifts feel less mysterious when the sequence of reaction before explanation is visible. Work discussions reveal invisible layers, where instinct guides the opening moves and reasoning follows slowly. You recognize how explanations follow feelings, carefully constructed after instinctive responses have already shaped behavior. Psychologist Carl Jung suggested the unconscious guides action, and this becomes apparent in simple daily moments. Even silence carries weight, as instinctive judgments arise before conscious processing can assign meaning. Judgments form rapidly, arriving before you understand the reasons behind your emotional experience. Friends' microreactions, nodding, posture, tone, signal emotion first, logic only later, unnoticed by casual observation. Family interactions reveal layers of pre-conscious alignment, protective reactions rehearsed over years. Laughter, agreement, or sudden withdrawal often originates as emotional regulation before awareness participates. The mind continues its rapid calculations even as you watch, observing without intervening or controlling. Moments of tension feel slower when observed, as instinct reveals its precedence over reasoning in real time. Certainty is frequently constructed after emotion, giving the illusion of deliberation and control. Colleagues' behaviors become more interpretable when you notice instinct guiding initial responses invisibly. You recognize this pattern in yourself, though it feels seamless and difficult to isolate consciously. The sequence quietly orchestrates social interaction, unnoticed yet constant, shaping perception and behavior alike. Reflection uncovers the subtle architecture of instinct, reasoning trailing behind its silent lead. And one thought lingers unresolved. If instinct always arrives first, how much of what feels you is truly chosen? Moments of shared recognition hint at this pattern, a quiet echo of instinct threading through all human interaction.